Hi, my name is Mumba Dodwell. I'm a director, and with us today we have
Joe. I'm an actor. I've been an NYT member for a couple of years. I've been directed by Mumba.
yeah, that's been
Oh,
great.
yes.
Yeah, so it's really great to do this workshop with Joe since we know each other, and he kind of knows my rehearsal process.
Yeah.
For this, Sky VIP has provided these workshops for premium members as a way to engage with young people. And they partnered with the National Youth Theatre, as you can see on our t-shirts, which is great, because the National Youth Theatre does workshops and shows for lots of different young people across the whole country. So yeah, I think it's a perfect pair. So today we're going to be looking at character. Joe and I spent a long time working on a show called Great Expectations, which had lots of big characters. So we'll be using techniques that we may have used in rehearsals, and we'll be drawn from some characters in the show. So we're going to be spending the next hour just exploring how we flesh out our character through body, through voice, and yeah, I think that's it. And also, actually, we're exploring it through animals, which is also a great way to develop a character. So to start off, it's always really important at NYT and any theatre organisation to warm up, to make sure your body is safe and that you are ready and in the space. So to start with a warm up, we're going to just rub our hands really quickly. So you start by rubbing your hands. Great, and if like me, you've been sitting for quite some time, it's time to start moving them all around and getting the body moving and starting to stand further back. Start going down to the floor. And all the way up. Great, and then start rubbing your body, getting your blood circulating. Right. And then the other arm. And really have fun with it, be a bit silly. Great, and make sure you're rubbing your legs, because you can't see me rubbing my legs. But you can see Joe.
I feel like I'm applying sun cream.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Really warming you up. Great, good. And now, as you're down there, if you're rubbing your feet, just very gently, hand down and give yourself a bit of a shake. And you can make some noise while you do this. You go, funny, isn't it? It's a bit like a horse. Great, and then very gently, roll up and start to roll. So you start to go vertebrae by vertebrae. There's the little backbone joints. Great, and last to come up is your head. Great. We're going to do some star jumps. Let's get some more blood pumping. Let's see if we can do 10 really quickly. Are you ready?
Like a Joe Wicks workout we're doing, remember?
Yeah, I know, it is like Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and great, good, that's good. We should be feeling warmer now. And just roll your shoulders for me backwards. Oh, okay. And make sure you're taking some nice deep breaths as you're rolling your shoulders and exhaling. Oh, just roll them a couple more times. Great. And then to balance things out, roll them the other way. And great, now bring your shoulders up to your ears, all the way up, squeeze, 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 and exhale. Let them go, and up to your ears again. And then drop them down. Great, and then all the way up. And then drop them down. Great, that feels great, that feels so much better. Right, so now we're just gonna do some arm circles again, just to get our arms ready and working. So this is really fun, I like to do this. I mean, let's say it's fun. It does hurt a bit. Here we go. So,
Oh no.
badly, but let's see how small you can make your circles going one way. Small. I feel like it takes concentration. Small, and then let them get bigger.
Am I meant to be going forward or backwards, Mumba?
I'm going backwards.
Okay.
And then bigger. And then bigger.
Ah!
Great, and then change direction, and then getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Oh.
Oh.
I know, you see how I mean by it hurts a bit?
Yeah, I don't know why.
I'm really small And then great, just shake out your arms, give your body a shake.
Oh.
It just really warms them up. I find that really good.
I know, it's great.
Great, and just while we're here, just so we can wake up our side body, because our side body is so important for when we are using our voice. So we're just going to do some reaches up. If you're standing together, reach as high as you can and stretch, and then reach with the other hand. Great. Really feel that stretch in your side body, and then reach with the other hand. And you can create a bit of a rhythm with it. So just keep reaching in your own time. This reminds me of a song that I really liked when I was a kid, which is Reach for the Stars.
I was going to say, I feel like a 90s pop star.
Yeah, it is like a 90s pop star dance. Your side body. Oh, yeah.
If you're doing this at home, make sure everyone who's in the room thinks you're really weird and has no idea what you're up to.
That's true. Or like me, my neighbours are probably seeing me in my window, reaching for the stars, wondering, what is she doing?
But it doesn't matter.
And then just shake your hands out all the way down. And now we just need to bend our knees. So just do a bit of marching on the spot. We need to wake those up, waking up our toes. It's a good way to warm up. And then, I wonder where we're going. This is what I imagine when I do a long walk. Great, and then just to counterbalance that way, we're going to kick our bum with our feet. So we're going to gently go kicking up our feet like this. You can say the show and Joe, making sure your heels touch. And great. Good. Okay. I feel warm. I hope you guys feel warm. Do you feel warm, Joe?
Yeah, I feel warm.
Yeah, great. I think we're ready. Okay, so for this next bit, what is really easy way to get into character is thinking about what body part you lead with. Now, some of us, you might have noticed this with your friends or your family members, they might lead with certain different body parts. Like, for example, when I was at school, I used to wear a really big backpack and I used to walk around and lead with my forehead. So I'd be leaning like this and walking around like this all the time in school, like this. Looking quite silly.
You were quite a hard worker, weren't you, Mumba? I can tell.
I was a very hard worker, very diligent, always on time as well. So yeah, so it's really important how we look at what we lead with. Joe, what do you think you lead with when you walk?
I think maybe, I don't know, probably like either my chest or my stomach a little bit. I walk quite lazily, I think.
You've also got a bit of a nice bounce. You have a bounce to your walk. You're casual.
Yeah.
You're like,
I think I'm walking slightly cooler than I normally do because I can see myself. I'm trying to look like.
Cool. Right. Should we just walk around, Joe, and see?
Yeah.
And if anyone wants to join in, find out what you walk with and what area you lead with. So Joe and I'm just going to walk for a bit and just think, because I think mine's changed. I need to kind of think about it.
You get people to decide what you walk with, Mumba.
Yeah. What do you want me to? People. Yeah.
No. We should get people to figure out what part of the body you walk with.
That's so good. Guys, if you're watching this, just check out and have a look at both of us and see what we walk with. You can put that in the comments as well. Have a look and see how we're walking. I'm just going to keep walking around. Ooh, this is hard. Okay. Right. I think I lead with my hips now, because I usually stand back a bit, like I'm chill.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Okay, then. That's really great. So now that we have done that, let's have a play at leading with different body parts. I think my favorite one, Joe, is to lead with my nose. Could you show us what it is like for you to lead with your nose? Oh yeah. What does that feel like?
I feel like I don't know, like an evil villain, but like a job's worth.
Oh yeah.
I feel like Mr. Burns.
Mr. Burns. Okay, I'm gonna give it a go. I'm gonna lead with my nose. I feel like I'm really snooty, you know. I feel like I'm really snooty. I can imagine like me when I was younger being really snooty with leading with my nose. That's great. I hope you guys are giving this a try.
Yeah, so someone thinks that you walk with your head, Mumba.
My head. Should we try that? Let's do it on the next one. Let's see what happens if you lead with your head. I think that's probably true. I probably haven't evolved yet from the backpack one. So Joe, let's have a go leading with our head. And I'm leading specifically with my forehead, so I think we can be really specific.
I think you do kind of do this to a less exaggerated way.
You think so?
I think a little bit, yeah. That's a good acknowledgement.
Yeah, I think so. Thank you, listener, for watching. Watching there, for pointing that out. That's really good. And Joe has pointed out something really important. All the things that we lead with, we can do to greater or lesser degrees. So we can make them really extreme. And Joe and I, for this workshop, are probably making them a lot more extremer than you normally would. But it's really fun to play how big or small you can use them. Great. Okay, let's quickly try something else. What happens if we lead with our tummy, Joe? Could you show us what that looks like? Oh, yeah. You look a bit hard.
I'm kind of pushing it out as well.
That's great. I'm going to try it. We're going to see what happens when I lead with my tummy. I feel like, and it might just be because of my gender that I assign to, I feel like a pregnant woman. So pregnant women.
Oh, yeah.
That's really good for like pregnant women who lead with their tummies. So there's a lot more weight at the back of my body. And I can make it really extreme. Joe, what happens if we make this really extreme? We're leading with our tummy really extreme. Oh, feels like a lot of effort. But also, if you bring your hands into it, you can look a bit like a hard man.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're ready. Great, that's really fun. Okay, good. Let's try what happens if we start leading lower parts of our bodies. So what happens if we lead with our feet, Joe? I know they can't see it, but I'm pretty sure you can see it physically. Yeah, there you go. It's a lot more lean back.
Yeah, I feel like sort of like a model doing like a swagger sort of thing.
Yes.
Maybe I should put this down a little bit.
And you can play around with the speed of these as well, playing around with how quick and how slow you walk. Because if you walk really slowly, Joe, could you show us what happens if you walk really slowly with your leading with your feet?
Okay. I feel like I'm on the catwalk a little bit.
You do, you look like you're on the catwalk. That's great. And if I walk really fast leading with my feet, I don't know, you probably will see this in my body, but if I was leading my feet really fast, I don't know, I feel like I'm about to topple over all the time.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Like, it's really funny. Great. Okay, let's try this last one. What happens if we lead with our hips? And I think this always reminds me of a specific character. I don't know why. Like, it reminds me of a cowboy when I lead with my hips. So if you hopefully you're trying this out with us, so we're not just looking like.
It's also equally fine to look at us being absolute weirdos. This is what it looks like to our neighbours.
It is. Yes. That's great. Okay. Great. That is great. Thank you very much. Now, I just want you to really quickly find your favorite one. Just like play around and find your favorite one that you enjoyed. So I'm going to spend about 30 seconds, Joe, we can do this. We can spend 30 seconds just trying out different ones and see which one's more comfortable. Okay, off we go. Move my forehead. I don't know about you, Joe, but are you starting to bring facial expressions into it?
I can't help it. Especially the nose. I really
yes. Neither can I. Okay, I think that's about 30 seconds. Thank you so much for doing that with us, or for watching us being silly. If you could, let us know which one is your favourite body part to lead with. That would be great. If you want to, you can also just shout it at the iPad or your TV or whatever, and we'll get it telepathically. We will get it. Thank you for sharing. Great, good. Okay, so now we're going to look at animals. We're going to be looking at animals, okay? And how animals can be really, really good at helping us get into character. Now, I was saying to Joe earlier that my friends sometimes think I'm a bit like a puppy because I talk really fast and I'm really energetic all the time, and I can get my attention span is all over the place. So I have to concentrate sometimes and be like, right, what am I doing? Stay focused on the task at hand. So animals can be really good at summing up people's personality and characteristics. Joe, what animal do you think you are? Like on some days?
Probably either like a little monkey or maybe a house cat. Depends how tired I am, probably.
I see both. Joe did an excellent monkey one time. We were working at the National Youth Theatre together, and I've always remembered him as a monkey. So I that very clearly. Okay, so now I want you guys to pick very quickly an animal. I'm just going to count down to 10, and you have to pick an animal for yourself that you're going to explore for this next exercise. So here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. Have you got animal?
Yeah.
Good.
I don't know why I was expecting someone else to respond to that question.
I did hold the space for them to say something, so I think you do have an animal, which is great. Okay, so now I want you to very quickly. Oh, someone's got
dormouse.
I'm trying not to read all the comments, but it's so
No,
exciting.
it's great. I find it really interesting that someone on the last exercise felt like they looked like Roadrunner, who is also an animal that can't. Do you know what I mean? It's funny how the leading from different parts of the body sort of makes you seem like different animals as well.
That's so true. I think really hold on to that and really see what parts of the body the animal leads with. Right, now I'm going to go and explore my animal quickly, and Joe, could you as well? If you could move around. Oh, we've got cat. I'm so excited. Okay,
yeah.
Quickly, very quickly. Time exploring an animal. If I disappear, it's because I've gone full animal. That's what's happening. Off you go.
Okay. Mumba, I can just hear you scurrying around your kitchen. I love it. Oh my god.
Can you guess what animal I am, Joe?
I saw a little bit. Maybe a rabbit?
Yes, I'm a rabbit. Because you can hear it from the little
The scurrying is perfect.
That's great. Just me scurrying across my floor. Okay, very quickly, keep going with the animals. We're distracting you. Okay, great. I just had some fun there pretending to be a rabbit on the screen for people popping out. So that is a really good way to start with characters. Animal studies are so good. And also while you're at home right now in lockdown, you can have a look at all the different animals coming to your house and really start to pick up their characteristics. It's so helpful. There are animals everywhere to keep watching. Like now there's a bumblebee trying to get into my room everywhere. Okay, so Joe, what animal were you?
I was a tortoise.
Oh, I love a tortoise. That's great. And just to clarify, tortoise are the ones that aren't in water?
Yeah, yes.
Great. I just always never know, like turtle, tortoise, two different things.
That's right. The chat, thank you. I think that's right.
Okay, great. I hope so. If someone could clarify, that'd be great. So, Joe, so what we're going to do now is explore the different scales on animals and how we can use them to start to show personality. So number 1 is what we did, which is full animal. Number 1, as if I say number 1, that is full animal. Now, if we start looking at number 2, which is our next level up, it's where you are about, say, 80% animal and 20% human. So what does that start to look like? Joe, could you show us, please?
Yeah, I'll give it a go. I'll try and stay in the camera as well.
Okay, I'm going to have a watch. Oh, this is a great tortoise. And if you're at home, why don't you give this a go with Joe? Start to look at how you could be 80% animal and 20% human. Thank you, Joe. That is so lovely. Great. And now we're going to look at level 3, which is where you are about 50% human and 50-50 animals. So why don't you start having a play with that, Joe? And once you do it, I might ask you just how that felt and what you chose to be, what bits you chose to keep and what bits you didn't, so that we can hear some feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a bit of thinking, doesn't it, that one?
Yeah, it's funny to try and find the percentages, find the right sort of balance. Okay, I'll try. I feel like he's on his feet now.
Yeah, I think so. I think that makes sense. I'm also going to try rabbit as well, just to see what happens, so I can also see what happens, what's going on. And guys at home, please feel free to join in with Joe.
Yeah, don't leave me alone in this.
Yeah.
Let's creep out our neighbours as much as possible. You should have seen last week, Mumba. We were spitting water. Hello to all the people who were in that session as well.
Oh, that sounds so cool.
It's quite messy.
All right, thank you so much, Joe. I think that's enough. We can't leave you on your own for too long. How was that? What did that feel like?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's quite different from me. It's like quite slow, and I feel like tortoises in my brain, they're very slow, but they're a bit like jittery. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. They might be like those dancers. What's it called? Those like pop and lock dancers.
Oh yeah.
That movement. Like
I
that.
can't do it, but yeah. Yeah, again, it's that weird thing of trying to find that 50% mark and like still keep as much of the animal as possible.
Great, but what's really good, as you said, Joe said, when finding characters that are different from you, it's really good to also pick an animal. So I know I'm a puppy and I say I'm working a character, which is so different from me. I might pick an animal like a magpie or a bird. So it can help me be slightly different from myself. I hear that a lot of people are picking tortoises.
Come on, tortoise gang.
Great. Okay, now let's explore level 4, which is basically more human, but more human, but more with some tortoise. So I'm going to think of a percentage. I think that is about, so we went from 50-50. I think now it's about 75%, 75% human, and then 25% tortoise. So if you could show us, Joe, and at home, please join in.
Let me know if it's not quite 70% in your brain.
I'll let you know. Let me have a watch. I think you can bring in that stiffness a bit more in your walk, Joe. There we go, yeah. Interesting. Oh, this is very good. I can see that the neck is really stuck there, which is really interesting. And that's a really good character distinguisher about the animal. Great, thank you, Joe. That was really good. That was really lovely. Okay, now let's move on to looking at, say, more 90% human, but just why don't you keep your favorite bits of the tortoise in there that really help you create that character? So this is level 5.
Okay.
And at home, please join in. Oh, very good. I like this prop interaction. That's great. Thank you so much, Joe. Please let us know how that went for you at home. So we had 5 different levels. I'm just going to recap them. And this is a really good way to start to practice and get how much of the animal you want to show in the character, because some of us are more animal than we realise. So we had level 1, which is full animal, and that's a great place to start. Always exploring what the animal does and how its characteristics make it the animal it is. Then you've got number 2, which is where you become a little bit human. So I said about 80% animal, 20% human. Then you've got level 3, which is 50-50 animal and human. Then you've got level 4, which was about 80% human and 20% animal. And then number 5 is where you pick your favorite characteristics of the animal and add them to your character. So Joe, do you have anything you started to put together in your mind as a story, as your character? Like, what did the tortoise give to you?
Well, I feel like this character, because I think it probably comes from the neck, this sort of like, it's almost like the leading with the nose thing kind of thing. Yeah. Feels like that, a similar sort of character to that, sort of looking over, like surveying the space. And because tortoises, like, because they're quite slow, but they do move, they choose their movements quite specifically, so everything feels kind of precise. So it's quite precise, maybe slightly snooty character, maybe a bit older as well.
Yeah.
sort of story that I'm telling.
That's really great. Thank you, Joe. I think that's really important. So guys, when you start doing work, really start to investigate how it makes you feel, like Joe did. Like with the rabbit, I always think of, if I was a rabbit, I might be a character who's quite nervous, because rabbits always get scared quite easily. They're very nervous. They would be probably that person when they get anxious would make really loud noises and run away very quickly. And they're always listening out for stuff all the time, having their ear to the ground and listening to what's going around. So that's a character I start to build up in there. And it's more of a like nervous disposition, having a nervous disposition. Great.
Can I just say as well, because I know a lot of other people doing tortoises, I find it's quite interesting how like what I did might be really different from what you've done, because we all interpret it in different ways. Because I'm just thinking to myself now, you know, a tortoise can go into his shell and be quite reserved, and that's like completely different from what I've done. But so
you might be a very confident tortoise, while they might be a shy one and go in. Oh, good. That's really good to explore, like exploring what the different types of animals, what they can do, which is really important. Great. That was so much fun. Thank you. And also let us know. Yeah, just let us know how you got on. That'd be really, really helpful to us to know.
Yeah, we've got a few sloths, and I appreciate that.
Sloth.
Yeah.
Great. That is great. That's so good. Okay.
Being a sloth meant it took 4 minutes to write this post. Nice work.
Thank you. Okay.
You're so in the character. Love it.
Getting so committed. That's really, really important. Just now, for a bit of something different, and also it's really important as we do this, as Joe's also drinking water, which is good. It's really important to warm up our voices as we start working as an actor. You don't want to do anything that might hurt it. So we're going to do a really quick vocal warm-up to start our voice and get warm. I've been talking for so long, so I'm probably quite warm despite all that. But yeah, here we go. So we're going to start with our face. I just want you to kind of rub your face all over. I'm going to take off my glasses because they're really just blocking the way. So start rubbing your face. Oh, it's so good. Especially if you're like me, when you sit on a computer, you've been staring hard, you can have a lot of tension. And then start to just rub the side of your jaw. Great. And then just also now, just do a big yawn. Great. I'm also going to hold into it.
The sloths are falling asleep, Mumba.
I know. Oh God, I know we're going to lose them. Are we? Going to have to wake up, sloths. Okay, great. And now can you squeeze your face really hard, like you've eaten some really bitter lemon? And then open your mouth really wide. And then bitter lemon. And then really wide. Great. And also just now, could you just roll down slightly, and just so that your face is just has so that your face can become relaxed and your jaw become relaxed, and just give it a bit of a shake up. Always for using the voice. So make sure, like Joe and I, use your voice. Don't be afraid to make some silly noises for everyone at home to hear. Great, and then very gently roll up. Now, when we roll up this time, I'm going to tuck our chin as close as we can to our chest and roll up so slowly all the way up, and let your chin be the last thing to come up. Great, and while you're there, just naturally, as I did, just roll your shoulders back. Great, and then just let it out. Good. I'm just having a look at what I've written down to do on a vocal warm-up, so I make sure I do everything. Great. Okay, now can we do some sirens? So I'm going to show you how they go, and it's really important that you're really delicate on your voice. So the siren goes. So it's a closed mouth. So when you're ready, let's do it all together. Great, and we're just going to go a little bit higher this time. Right, good. And let's do some. So just do some. I appreciate silly faces, so please do that. Great. And now imagine that you've got some toffee and put it in. Eat your toffee, start to chew it. It's getting a bit harder and harder to chew. Oh. Please join in with the silly faces, as I said, like really, yeah, really chewing.
I think these toffees are out of date, Mumba.
I think so too. Oh, I think I'm about to swallow it. Oh, I've eaten it. Oh dear. You guys can either eat it or spit it out. That was too much toffee. Okay, great. And now the last thing to warm up our voices, which I love to do, you have to imagine that a bee or a wasp has flown into your mouth and it's buzzing in there. So start making a bzz. I've forgotten what the sound they made in your mouth. Like a and it's really important that you imagine it is at the back of your nose and start to explore the different places it could go. So I don't know if we can hear it, Joe. Do you want to give us an example? Say like if it's the back of your nose, like the bee's really at the back of your nose, and then what happens if it goes into your tummy? I can't hear it as much. See, it's really hard, but keep exploring. Don't worry, Joe. That's all. It's just about exploring. Imagine the bee. It's flying all around your face and body. Great, good. And let the bee or wasp out and let it go, because we want to make sure it's safe. Great, good. So now we have started to warm up our voices, because we're going to start exploring how different sounds of using what they call resonators in our body, where sound bounces off to create the sound that we hear and other people hear in our bodies. So lots of people have use different resonators to create their voice. And we're going to explore that to how you can use that for character. Now, my favorite one is always a nasal quality. I don't know why, it's my favorite. So Joe, could you show us what it would sound like if you were talking from the back of your nose, like you're really nasal?
It would sound a lot like this. It's at the back of my nose, and this is the sort of person that I feel like. Yes, hello. I sound like one of those what are they, you know, what they do, the announcements and things like that.
Yeah, that's great. And also sounds like a bit of a jockey. And number 3 is running in the lead, and number 4 is catching up. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Number 3 is out of the race. And so yeah, so that is a nasal quality. I don't know why it's my favorite. It's great. So could you guys just spend some time practice, just having a play of that nasal voice? I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to talk to myself. Acting is always about talking to yourself. You have to talk to yourself all the time if you want to explore different voices, don't you, Joe? Do you talk to yourself a lot?
Yeah, I do, to the upset of the rest of my family. Yeah.
Exactly. I know so many actors who talk to themselves all the time like you. So just spend a few seconds exploring your nasal voice and saying your name. Like, my name is Mumba Dodwell, and I'm a director. Nice.
People at home, how are you doing? I hope you're being as strange as me. I'm a very strange person today.
Great. Okay, good. That's really great. So now we're going to explore talking from our higher register. So somewhere there's lots of different high registers, but I think the best one to start off with is thinking about talking from the top of your head, like that. So Joe, could you give us a go from the top of your head? So you imagine that all the sound is going right up.
Hello, hi. Hello, my name is Joe. Is that right, Mumba? That sounds okay?
Yes, let me get that again. Sometimes it really helps to point your finger like Joe and I did, because I don't know why. It just really helps. Well, I need to talk up here like this. Yes, Joe, that sounds right.
Hello.
Yes. And it's really not about using your throat really tight and closing it. You have to imagine that you're talking right through here like this. Like airy.
Exercise for doing cartoons.
Yes, oh yes, it's a great exercise for cartoons. Apparently, Joe Duggan, who is helping us with this, is really enjoying our silly voices. So I'm glad, thank you. So that is really good. I hope you guys are trying this out with us and really exploring what it means to talk from the top of your head. So that's one place to talk from. And also another way of high voice talking from, which I find really interesting as well, is this part, which is known as your third eye. So you can think about talking from here. So it sounds a bit more nasally and it might be a bit quieter, but you're talking from this third eye. So it's like you're really, really one of those nosy little children who wants to know everything. Everything. How's that, Jay? What do you want to give that again?
I think it feels like quite a hard one to speak from. Hello?
Yeah.
Yes. It feels like I need quite a lot of energy to speak.
Yeah, you have to think really hard about speaking from your third eye.
I feel like a naughty child, maybe.
Yes.
Or even a parent telling off their naughty child, one of the two.
Yes, I think that's really good. That's really good to start associating these voices with certain things and people, so it's really easy to access. That's great. So there is lots of resonators in our face that we can use where sound can bounce off of. So we've got, as we've explored, we've got our nose, we've got our third eye, and we've got the top of our head here. Now, naturally, where most of us talk is around usually our chest and throat area. That's naturally where we talk. So just think about consciously where you're talking now. If you just hum and see what that sounds like if you in your chest, go. Hooray. That's good. So that's where if you just hum there and just actually also a really nice way of doing this. It's a really useful exercise to do, which I'm sure that we've done in Joe and I, and probably people have done, where you hum and wherever you want to speak from, you just start to let out a sound. So if we go, that's from my chest. So I might be like, my name is Mumba, because then it starts to change into my chest voice. So you know where it is. Do you want to give that a go, Joe? So if you start humming, let out a sound. So it goes, and open your mouth, and then start to speak from there. It's a really odd thing.
My name is Joe.
Yeah, great, good. So mostly Joe and I think also because we train both as actors, we tend to speak a lot from our chest, don't we, Joe? Because I feel like that's the safest and easiest area to talk from.
I think sometimes when I'm being lazy, I probably talk like in my throat. Kind of like.
Yeah. When I get tired, I start to talk in the back of my throat, and then I'm just like, oh, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. It's so long. Yeah, that's basically what that sounds like. Okay, and now the last area, I just want to make sure we've got lots of time. So our last area is our tummy. So some of us can talk from our tummy. Now, if you do the hum and just, if you start humming from a chest and really start to think about pushing it right down to your tummy and using that as a resonator, there is so many muscles and so many gooey stuff in here that makes good sound. So if we start humming in our chest, and then think about taking a tummy, and then open it up. My name is Mumba. My name is Mumba. Mumba. It's so weird, isn't it, Joe?
Joe, my name is Joe.
Yeah. So as you can see, I hope you guys try this with us. When you talk from your belly here, I think of really big actors, famous actors like Morgan Freeman. Like when I think about his voice, it feels very tummy, it feels very heavy, and it feels like really there. So you tend to see that with a lot of older actors. They might speak from their tummy. They've just grown and they have gravitas, and they speak with such presence, and they know who
like
they
Ian
are.
McKellen or something like that. I don't know.
Yes, like Ian McKellen. If you guys don't know who Ian McKellen is, he is Gandalf, of course, and many other things. But he's Gandalf for, I think that's the stuff that you guys can watch with him in, is Lord of the Rings. And he's got a great voice, and he is someone who uses all his resonators on stage. It's really great. So good. Okay, now we've explored all these different places. Now what I would like to do is I want you to start to explore different grunts and sounds from these different places. So if you were talking from your tummy, you might be like, oh, it's like a teenager, oh. And if you were tutting from your nasal quality, you might be like, and if you might be a little kid, you might be talking like this, and you might make it sound like, oh. So I want you to start playing with different sounds and where they come from, because we don't want to use words yet. We won't use words yet. We just want to see the different sounds. Now, just to make it even more complicated, because I think you guys are ready for that, we're going to pick our favourite walk that we liked to lead with and start to add the sound. So my favourite one was nose. And Joe, what was your favourite one?
One was the nose, but I can choose something else.
Oh, no, it's fine. You know what? Let me go with hips because it was my second favourite.
Okay.
I'm going to go with hips. Joe will go to nose. And Joe, let's just start exploring and then we'll share back with everyone what we found. But if we start walking around and start giving ourselves a little sound that uses one of our resonators, so our tummy, our chest, our nose, maybe even our throat that we didn't explore, but Joe and I talked about, our third eye, and then the top of our head. So just have a go with that. Have a play for about 30 seconds.
Yes.
Great, good. Okay, let's share back. I'm going to show you mine, and then Joe, and then you guys can let me know what sort of animals and stuff you think come to mind as well. Because I feel like an animal. I can't quite feel. I think it's there. Okay, off I go. Great. I sound really annoyed, don't I, Joe?
I'm really disgruntled.
Yeah, I feel disgruntled. I felt a bit like, someone who's waited in the queue for a really long time for the shops and the shop has just shut. Or it's just started to rain. Yeah.
That one person who seems to never be happy and always likes to complain about stuff.
Exactly. I think so. That's how I feel like. Joe, could you show us what you got up to with yours?
Yes. Yes.
Great, thank you, Joe. What's so great about Joe's is that you can clearly see that he's developed from the tortoise. He's got a bit of the neck going on there. He's added his sound in there, and then he's leading with his nose. And all of those things have started to create such a vivid character. You look like someone who's gone into either a library or a supermarket and can't find the thing that they really want, but they've been looking for ages. Every time you go to the shop, they can't find it. That's what it looked like. I don't know what it felt like for you. What does it feel like?
Yeah, it does feel like that. It does feel like that. Yeah.
Great, good. Okay, so now we've done that, we can really start to shape our characters. But we're going to take it one step further. We're going to think about the people in our house and the people that we see, or maybe the people that we miss and we haven't been able to see. I want you to very quickly think about the characteristics that make up that person. So you can either think about what animal they are, you can think about what animal they are, what sounds they make and where they speak in terms of vocal placement, and also what they lead with. So very quickly pick someone in your household or someone that you may miss that can become your character study. Okay, I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Here we go. I love a countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. Okay, so I want you guys to have some time and think about the person that you've picked in your head and start to explore how they walk and how they sound. Okay, so let's have a go. Let's pick the person. It might take a few different tries of different things to work out, but yeah, have a go, have a try. Great, good. All right, that's cool. Joe, who did you pick?
So it's my brother. It's quite hard. It's really difficult. It feels more difficult when it's someone that's sort of closer to me in age. I don't know why.
Yeah, I get what you mean because it feels so similar to you.
Yeah.
Find anything interesting about your brother, what he may lead with, or what his characteristics are?
Really quick, he's much quicker. He has this quite quick patter. So I found it quite difficult to move in the space because I didn't feel like there was a lot of room. there's not enough room for me to like, yeah, like, get to that exhilaration.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, that's really cool. And okay, so the person I picked was my grandma. I think about just her because she was also, obviously she's much older than me, but she's also for a very small woman and very and like older woman, she's actually quite spunky. Like she's got a bit of attitude, and that's why I really like that. Like she's got really small, but she might be like, oh, or look at me like this, and she'd be like, and then she'd be like, what? She would just really question me when I don't answer the question the way she wants me to answer it. So that was really fun to do. Okay, so I think what's really good about picking other people and other characters, like other people, so you can start to build characters as well and start to really pinpoint them and how to use all the different techniques we have. Now, the one last thing I really want you to try is, if you could very quickly, very steadily find a chair for me. And if you can get this chair, we're going to start practice and take it. Joe's got one there ready.
Ready.
Can you very quickly also explore how this person gets up from a chair? Because getting up from a chair can tell us so much about a character and how they move. And it's a really good way to explore also animals as well on the chairs and how you can move. So we're going to really quickly explore what it is like to get up and down as the person we picked. Great, good. How did you find that, Joe?
I found like it quite interesting trying to figure out what way he was sat first.
Yeah.
So, because that plays such a huge role in like how they get up. So I feel like it's quite like I don't know what this is. What did you call this? It's kind of like
he feels like he's laid back, but he's ready. Like he's
yeah.
into action.
Like, quite artsy kind of thing, isn't it? Yeah, very kind of go. And then so then I have this sort of on cross. It's quite quick, like okay, we're going sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's quite fast and like an uncurling. Things. I hope that makes sense to people.
I think so. I hope it does. Guys, please let us know if this is making sense to you. We'd really hear from you. And also let us know which people you picked and what you found out doing it. I did my grandma, so even though she's quite a spunky lady, it does take her time to get up, but she's always ready to go. Like she always wants to be ready. She's like, I can help you do these things. And then she'll stand there and she'll be waiting like this. She might hold on to objects, and then it's just that she's not as agile as she used to be, but she's got the energy and heart like she wants to do it. Great, good, thank you for that. Right, for our last bit of the exercise, I can't believe it, we've got 10 minutes to do this exercise. And it's a really fun thing that I hope that you guys will enjoy. So what we're going to do is, Joe Duggan, behind the screen, could you please share with us the slideshow of Great Expectation characters, and then I can explain. So what's going to happen is that I've given you 4 characters from a play Great Expectations, which I directed as part of the National Youth Theatre. I thought it's great to bring something close to home that we all know, and you might recognise the face in the picture. So the characters are Pip, Estella, and Miss Havisham, and Magwitch. And I've given a bit of character description on who they are, and from that you can start to build a character. So from what I would like you to do is pick one of these characters, and I'm going to read out the character descriptions. I want you to pick one of the characters and start to build on their walk, on their sound, and like how they sound. And you might think of a sentence they might say, or you might pick an animal for them and start to play and build a character. So what we've got here, we've got Pip, who you might recognise as Jay. It's so funny. So Pip is young, passionate, at times unrealistic, wants to improve himself and be a gentleman for Estella's love. So Pip really wants to be what we call a gentleman in the 1800s, which is sort of like a well-to-do man who dresses well, has a good job, and can really provide for Estella. Then we've got Estella, who is is a young woman, at times is cold and cruel to protect herself, and sometimes she's very cruel to Pip. She can come off as disinterested sometimes, and was brought up by Miss Havisham. So that is who looks after her. So really start to think about who these characters are. You can use these descriptions to think about what animals they are. Great. Joe, could you show us the next slide of the other two characters? Great. So here we have Miss Havisham. Miss Havisham is an older woman. She's eccentric. She's very wealthy. She's been living in her wedding dress for 20 years. It's a bit of a tragic story. Miss Havisham was left at the altar by the man she was supposed to marry, and so she never got changed out of her wedding dress. So it got old and it decayed, and so that can really, really help you to think about the physicality of Miss Havisham. And lastly, we've got Magwitch. Magwitch escapes from prison. He's he can be very fearsome. Some people think he's very scary, which he can be at times. He has a kind heart, and in secret, he manages to help Pip become a gentleman. And I think those are really, really, some really good points on how we can start to build the character. So I think I might pick one. Joe, you're gonna pick one?
Yeah, got one.
Okay. So pick one and start. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to start to explore these characters and what they're doing. I can't see myself, so I won't see how silly I'm being, but that's probably really good. So I'm going to pick a character, and I think I'm going to go with Miss Havisham. Let me start to explore. So I think really start to have a read of the descriptions of the characters. Again, Joe will probably flick between the two of them, and so that you can read which character you want to pick. And I'm going to start thinking about how my character walks. So think about the age and think about what's happened to them and think about how they might start to walk. I'm going to give you a bit of a hint and tip for something that these characters might say. So Miss Havisham might say something like Estella, because she's always calling for her. She lives with her. She might be calling Estella's name. She might be barking orders. Magwitch, let's think about something Magwitch might say. Magwitch sometimes says, he says thank you a lot to Pip, because Pip helped him earlier on in his journey. Magwitch might make some lot of grunts and noises and threatening sounds as he's escaping prison. Estella might say, what was it Estella say? Estella sometimes talks to Pip quite a bit, and she's always trying to say, Pip, don't love me. She says stuff around that topic of Pip, I don't want to be with you. And I said what Pip would, and Pip might say something like, I want to be a gentleman, and he might be convincing himself, might be convincing others. So think about stuff that your characters might say. Stella. Right, I'm going to give you one more minute to just play around. And great, thank you very much. Joe, could you show us both our screen? Because Joe and I are going to share what we have worked on. Thank you very much. Great. So I'm going to show, actually no, Joe, let's see what you did and see if we can guess the character.
All right. Do you want me to do no lines, no words? Just
do some words, go for it. Do some words, yeah.
Dear boy. Dear boy.
Great, good. That's really lovely. And what happens if we make him a bit older, like a bit more like heavier, because he's just treaded through the mud as he's escaped prison? Oh, great. Yes, it's like he's really tired and he's hungry. Great. Thank you, Joe. That's great. Thank you. How is it being Magwitch?
It's quite fun, actually. Yeah, it's like I imagine it's what it's like being the sloth from earlier. You can just you can take it really slow and really easy.
Yeah, that's really great. So as I said, you recognise Joe as Pip. So Magwitch is a completely different character from what Joe played in the production. And that's really nice. The great things about the characters in Great Expectations and any character by Charles Dickens is that they're so larger than life. I feel like they're great characters to use to play around. Okay, as I promised, I'll do mine as well. So I'm going to do my character and see if you can. I had so much fun doing this one. Estella! Estella! Great, that's my...
I just hope that you've got people in the other rooms thinking that you're being really strange.
I think so too. I hope so. I'm hoping my neighbours saw that. I really love Miss Havisham because she is such a weird and eccentric character. She only wears one shoe, and because that's all she had time to put on just before she found out that her husband to-be had left her at the altar. Well, thank you so much, guys, for joining us in the Lost Workshop. Please, in the comments, just let us know what characters you picked. I'm going to sit down like Joe as well. Please, in the comments, let us know what characters you picked and who you chose and what you discovered from there. I hope you found this useful and how to build a character, because I had so much fun this afternoon. And thank you so much, Joe, for joining me. Yes. Just to let you know, if you want to share your experiences and thoughts about this, please use the hashtag SkyVIP and let us know how it went for you. So yeah, that's great. Thank you very much. Thanks
for coming, and thank you to all the people who came back from the last one as well. It's been really good. Yeah. Really good to see some of the same faces, and really nice to see some new people as well. Yeah, as I said last time, it's really nice when people are sort of interacting in the chat. It's really cool to hear that other people are pretending to be Magwitch as well, so it's not just me alone.
Hey, I can't all of these. It's amazing. I'm going to check out the comments and see what people have said. So yeah.